to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media, where you can find news and views you can use. We hope this day has brought you closer to achieving your goals and that you have found joy in the process. Today, coming to the mic, we have Simene Walden, who is an educator, teacher, speaker, trainer, and best-selling Amazon author. She is affectionately known as the student teacher. She partners with educators and leaders to share their stories through written and verbal communication. Recognized as a distinguished educator throughout her 15 years of teaching in urban and rural communities, Simene now helps other new and novice authors to craft and publish their stories. Well, welcome, Simene Walden, to Just Minding My Business Media.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you so much for you ladies having me on.
And thank you. And we appreciate you coming on, and definitely want to hear about the work you do. And how did you get started with all this? What led you here?
So I'm originally from North Carolina, and I moved to Maryland 5 years ago, thinking I was coming for a relationship, but God really just placed me here all by myself. And I spent months praying to go back to North Carolina, and it did not happen. And so I just spent a lot of time reading and praying and working. And I started just praying a lot for the school system and for the students that I taught. And I started to pen those prayers and write those down. And so I started a educational prayer conference call on Sundays. And there was a lot of people didn't join, but I was still praying. I would write them down. And in December, I was like, I want you to start a Facebook Live. And so we took those prayers live, and I would write the prayers out. And I met a girl on Periscope that talked about writing a story. And in January, I started taking those prayers and writing them in a book. And my first book came out April 21st, 2017.
Oh, right. Well, congratulations for moving with your passion. And what was the name of the book?
So the very first book is called Standing on His Words, Prayers and Devotionals Every Educator Can Pray.
I know that's right. Standing on His Words. I like that. Because at the end of the day, that's all we got.
That's all we have. Oh,
yeah. Yes, indeed. So tell us a little bit about the new book that you have out.
So that's called UnMute Yourself. And I always share with people, because sometimes, especially if their faith is not the same as mine, which, I don't knock anybody for what they believe. I just made my calling and election sure. And so I'm a firm believer in praying before, in the middle, and after anything that you do. And we started this Facebook Live segment called Galvanized to Pray. Two of my sisters from my church, I invited them to be a part of it. And one April morning, we was all together. And one of my other sisters, she's actually in the book project, she sings. And so she came on and she started singing. I muted all of us. And the moment I muted her sound kind of got muffled. And so, I'm hoping it would, fade away. And it went on for maybe 3 or 4 minutes. And then my other sister was like, hey, she's muffled. I said, I know. I don't really know what to do. And so the moment I went to go unmute her, she became clear. And so she finished singing. And then the Lord said to me, he said, when you unmute yourself, it makes it clear for the next person. And so I said, okay. And then that particular week, that was on a Tuesday, I had started a 5-day free writing and publishing challenge. And so I was sharing with the ladies, the righteous story. And probably around Wednesday, the Lord was like, I want you to do an anthology called Unmute Yourself. And that's how that anthology came to be.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Isn't it wonderful when you do what God tells you to do? It's a wonderful thing. And, you know, and to recognize that he's telling you to do something, which is key. So what is UnMute all about?
UnMute is about women just sharing stories that they've held on, secrets that they held on to for years, that they thought it didn't impact them or affect their lives, but it affected their lives in every way. And we had one of the co-authors, I think that one, I love all the stories, that one has just touched me in a deep way. She said that she had held on to her story for 50 years. She had never shared it. It happened to her when she was 4. And this was her first time publicly talking about it. And as she shared her story, we all could relate to holding on to things. We could relate to her story. We could relate to one another's story. So it's women sharing pains and burdens of things that they never thought they would talk about, things they never thought they can get over, but now they're on the other side of it and they can share with other people. Listen, I made it through what I thought was going to take me out, but I'm yet still standing. So that's pretty much what the book is about.
Wow, that's deep. I'm gonna have to pick it up for sure, because I like women that have that courage to tell their truth, because a lot of times when you're sitting there even writing it, emotions come up.
Yes,
you know, it's like you reliving it, and having the courage to put it on paper for other people to read, it's huge. It's absolutely huge.
And it's also very liberating. Once you start writing those stories down, or that experience, however you're going to do it, an essay or poetry, however, it frees you, and sometimes it takes you to another level. All of a sudden, what's held you back for years, for decades, like you said, one woman, 50 years, that's not uncommon, you know, but once you write it down, it moves you forward. You're like freed from, it's like, okay, I did it, it happened. That's the past. This is who I am in the present. Now what can I do? And it frees you to move into the world to help other people. And I think that it's so powerful, because I come from a generation where my predecessors, some of them went to their grave with secrets.
Yes.
And those secrets held them back, destroyed other lives, because nobody understood where they were coming from. And they were so afraid of letting anybody know who they were. You know, that to hear women's stories now, it's just liberating, you know, to hear other women tell their story. And like Ida said, to have that courage to be able to put it out there. It's a necessity. And women's stories are powerful. They are extremely powerful.
Yes, they are.
They get to the nitty gritty of living.
Yes.
Yes, they do. And, you know, and I think in the last, I'll say 10 years, it's like women are really stepping out and telling their truth. And it's changing so many lives across the globe. And that's one of the things I like, is because your pain and getting through your pain tells somebody else that you can do it too.
Yes, ma'am.
You can do it too. I did it. I'm still standing.
Right. That's one of my favorite sayings. I'm still standing through it all. I'm still standing. I've been through it, in it, over it, whatever, but I'm still standing. And that's what, and when you can stand with dignity, you know, regardless of what people think, that's what's important. And when you put it out there, it's just liberating. It's liberating.
Yeah.
Also, it's healing. I guess that's really the better word. It is healing. And when we tell our stories and we tell our truth, it not only heals us, it heals other people as well. Yes. Because sometimes we hear our story coming out of somebody else's mouth.
Yes. Yeah. And I think we all said that once we read each other's stories, like, honey, we can take a piece of all of your stories and say, that was part of my story too. So yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Because nothing that's happened on the earth, anything that's happened has happened before to somebody
There's
else.
nothing new.
Nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
And, once we get through that shame, because a lot of times the things that happen to us wasn't even our fault.
Mm-hmm.
We was victimized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And some of the things that we claim as our own, that we take responsibility for. We were I don't know where I was talking about this, but we have been culturized into so many things, into thinking. Oh, yes, into our thinking. It has not always been our own.
Yeah.
We've been taught what to think.
Mm-hmm.
We've been taught what to believe. And sometimes we've acted on really bad information.
Yes.
And never realized that in acting on that information, we have traumatized ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that trauma runs deep for years and years before you even wake up and say, oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's when I stopped living. Oh, that's when I went into hiding. Because I think with most women, that's what happens. We go into hiding. We go into hiding, and we cut off ourselves, and people get married and never tell their mates the truth.
Yes.
And there's like this big elephant in the room, and nobody's talking about it. And so it causes all kinds of strange things to happen.
Yes.
But women's stories are really powerful. And I remember one of the stories in recent history was The Color Purple.
Mm-hmm.
And The Color Purple did that. It sort of introduced the women to the fact that what was happening to them in the current situation
Mm-hmm.
actually was multi-generational. It had started way back when, but all those secrets were kept. So when women write and they open up that door, oh my goodness, it's going to free our children.
Yes.
It's going to free our children
Yes.
to live a better life, because we're going to be free inside of ourselves.
Yes.
And we can bring that to them. It's like, oh yeah, whatever. It's called life.
Right.
Made a mistake.
Yes.
No, don't just get over it. Accept it
Yes.
and learn to love yourself through it.
Yes.
And that's where many women get lost. They can't love themselves. They stop loving themselves.
Yeah.
And because of people like you,
Mm-hmm.
that you just don't know how many people you have healed,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
So a little bit about your chapter, without giving it away. Can you just give us, an audience, a little snippet from what your chapter is about?
Yes. So I started writing my autobiography when I moved to Maryland. So that was around 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And like you ladies talk, I always think everything is purposeful, because as much as I'm coming on to be interviewed, I'm getting fed so much tonight. So you ladies talked about how, it's healing for you, and you go through the emotions, and it was so emotional and it was so painful that I kept putting it down. So I've yet to publish my own autobiography, but I took a chapter from that, and I started off with my chapter with it, saying that, 2017, because I was writing bits and bits about. So in 2017, I was writing from a deliberate place of living a closeted homosexual life for like 17 years. And I thought that in 2020 that, I wouldn't still be in this place. And I couldn't believe that I was still struggling with what I was telling people that I was delivered from. And I was like, well, how is this the case if I was telling people this? And so I just go into unmuting my truth and my story, and that I still love God, even though I still struggle in certain areas, that it doesn't take away from the fact that I still love God and I still want to serve him. And then I share all my process of what I have done to get to where I am now, and that I don't allow the obstacles of things. And you ladies even talked about what people are going to say, how people feel, and how your life or your deliverance or your healing looks to them versus what you've been working on yourself. And I just go through my process of what I've done so far and how I haven't allowed, and not just that, but just low self-esteem. You talk about shame, the guilt, the frustration, things that happened to me that was not my fault, that I did not understand well until I was 35, holding on to secrets of being raped and molested until 35. And I had enough courage to tell my mom, hey, this is what happened to me. And I just kind of go through that process with my chapter.
Awesome.
So where do people get the book? How do they get the book?
So you can get it from any of the co-authors. You can get it from my my site that I have. You can.
And what's the site?
What is the site? It is bit.ly. It's a Bentley link, and I don't even have it.
Okay, don't worry about it. We'll make sure people get it. I understand. We'll make sure people get it when we put this out. So absolutely, because and women have been through so much in every culture, in every generation. Since we came on this earth.
Thank you. And that is the truth. It's been generations and generations of, the way I put it was that a lot of what has happened to us has happened until we learn to do it to ourselves. In other words, women have been abused, molested. All kinds of things have happened to us until all of a sudden, like in the 20th century, we started learning how to do it to ourselves. We learned how to undo ourselves as women, and it's still going on. And that's why work like this that you're doing is so important, because it's going to teach women to stop doing these things to ourselves.
Yes.
Like you mentioned about, your belief in God, that you love God and, you want to serve him. So the question is, who does God want us to be? And what does he want for us? And so many times the message that women receive is that we're second-class citizens. We belong to the commercial system. Prostitution's been around for a long, long time.
Yes.
How did we get to that place? And then sometimes we still prostitute ourselves in other ways. There's so many ways of doing this. But we've been taught by the systems that exist to do these things to ourselves. So the work that you're doing, I really commend you for it. And I commend you for your courage to put it out there, to get it down on paper and put it out there.
And
because like I said, some people are going to be healed by the work that you're doing.
Yes, and encouraging others to do the same. That's one thing when you do it, but you've had the power to encourage other women to do the same, which is wow. That's all I can say.
That's a powerful story. Your story in itself is just powerful.
Yes,
so thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us and with our audience, because I'm telling you, somebody heard you and their ears perked up. And not only their ears, their heart opened up.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Because somebody to hear this, and they could be going through that same exact thing.
Yes.
Right this moment. And don't know how to get out. Don't know what to do. And being able to reach out to somebody that has been there, done that, and still standing.
Yes.
That's a testament. That's a testimonial. Without a doubt. So some of the stories in your book, what are some of the different things that some of the women wrote about?
So, again, you ladies talked about how when you share your story that it heals and helps other people. And ironically enough, 7 of the 9 women are married. One has been married, but she got out of a domestic violence situation. So she talked about her domestic violence situation, that it did not start when that man put his hands on her. She learned that from a young age. And she thought that fighting and, being rough with people was the way to go. And so it was just naturally that she started to attract people. So she shared how she was able to get out of that situation. And the other ladies with their marriages, again, you ladies talked about how people will, they don't even share their stories with their mates. And it can damage relationships. One of the ladies, she shared when she was 5 years old, that she changed her names and she changed some of the prominent locations to protect some people. And she says that her parents have passed away, so they never knew that she had been violated at 5 years old by somebody in her family. And it was something triggered her. She's seen a little girl out in the park that triggered her to take her back to what happened to her when she was 5 years old. And they was taking nude pictures of one of her relatives made her take nude pictures in front of this man, and she was raped. And she had to sit down and talk to her children about that, because in the process of all this happening, she wanted to talk to them prior to the book coming out. And she also had to tell her husband what was going on. Another lady talked about being in her marriage for 20 years, not feeling protected by her husband. And she had to confront him on some things because she thought that they wouldn't make it. Another one talked about her marriage and how he had cheated on her many, many, many times. And they had went to the court to get a divorce. The lawyer told them to, I don't know, something that the lawyer told them to do. So they end up being the last case that day. And by the time they sat in court all day, that they didn't get a divorce anymore. So they're still together. And then another lady, she shared about her marriage, but she said when she started writing about it, she thought she was talking about her husband, but God turned it back on her and made her look at her mean self, and she had to deal with herself instead of focusing much on her husband. And then another one talked about when she got married, she just didn't feel like God sent her this great man. She didn't feel worthy, so she was still wild, still wanted to do what she wanted to do, and that man loved her until it's almost like the Hosea case where he loved her until he started loving God, and now they have a beautiful family. They've celebrated like 11 years. And so all of them share the different aspects. A lot of them talk about shame and guilt and suicidal thoughts and not feeling good enough. But the theme in it all is that God has still kept us through all of this. God has yet still kept us.
Wow.
Oh.
That sounds powerful.
Yes,
That sounds really powerful. So that book, so are you on any social medias? Because people need to be able to contact you about the book. So can you put that out there, please?
Yes, ma'am. So I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I'll be back on Instagram soon. It's all under my name, Simene Walden. And my business page on Facebook is called The Student Teacher.
Say that again.
The Student Teacher. My business page on Facebook is called The Student Teacher.
The Student Teacher.
Yes. You can find me everywhere else under Simene Walden.
Okay. Student Teacher. I just have to write that down.
Yeah, let's explore that. Why the Student Teacher?
So, even when I said I started off with praying for the school system, and when I came to Maryland, I was coming for a relationship, I thought, but God sent me here all by myself, and I was just so broken. I was just in a really bad space, and he would point me out into those students every day. Things would bother me. He'll say, yep, you know why this is bothering you. And my only antidote, my only answer, I didn't have money. I was promised one pay coming from North Carolina to Maryland. It's a big, like the pay is a big difference, but the cost of living is a big difference. So I didn't have a lot of money, and I work at a Title I school, and so we had a sharing table, and I would always tell them, don't throw your food away, bring it down here in case somebody wanted. We had free and reduced breakfast, and what they didn't know is that Miss Walden was taking the breakfast home because I didn't have money and I couldn't afford it, and I was tired of asking my mom, and so my only resort, and I told God I never want to get back to this place, was to pray. I had to pray to him for every single thing that I had. I had to pray for it all. And doing the prayers, just coming out and sharing what he would, give me to say, what I felt like he was saying. And one morning, and I put it in my very first book, the one morning he woke up, he says, "You are the student teacher." And I was like, "Well, I know I'm a teacher." And he says, "No, you're a student of my word. And you turn around and you teach it to others. You are the student teacher." And ever since, that has been that I made that my business name.
All righty. Wow. Powerful.
That is so powerful. Girl, you are too anointed. Oh my goodness, you almost making me cry here. Hearing your story and hearing everything and how you are so dependent on God. Do you hear people talk about belief in God, but from you, it's like everything you acknowledge the fact that it came from God. Everything. I have not heard you one time not include him in anything that you've spoken about.
It's been I always tell people, like, you read the scripture, said there is nothing good in me except him. I know one of my friends told me, he says, "A week without prayer makes you weak." And I say, a day without prayer, a day without me, it makes me, the ugliness come out. And there was a lot of things he would share. Like, I would never share my testimony before. I was like, I'm not talking about this, Lord. Like, let's just keep this between us. And then I had a mentor who was like, "Girl, your secret is not between you and God." I said, "Oh, yes, it is." And when he would give me sometimes it would just like, it would just come out. And I would say, "Holy Spirit, listen, you told me to say this. You got to back it up. This ain't me. So whatever happens, I'm trusting that you're going to have to handle this, because I don't want people coming after me. I don't want people standing after me." So
yes.
And I just have a belief now that if he tells me to do it, that he's going to make a way. And surely he has made a way.
Yes.
That is awesome. I love hearing that. Yes. I love hearing that confirmation that there are times, if we really listen and pay attention, God is always talking to us. He's not far away. Always. He's not far away from any one of us. And if we pay attention, we will hear him give us direction.
Yes.
One of my favorite Psalms is Psalm 25. And it says, to teach me your way, make me walk in your way, teach me your truth.
Yes.
And it absolutely, you will hear that voice say, this is what you need to do. And sometimes it's the voice that gives you courage to just open your mouth and say what needs to be said.
Yes.
And I just love hearing this. So thank you so much, Simene. I love hearing this. And you're a young woman, so this is awesome that you have this at this age.
Yes.
This is awesome that you have it at this age.
And when did you, because you are young, and when did you really begin to nurture your belief?
So I moved here in 2015. It was about, I would say probably like 2013. When I said, "Okay, Lord, I think I want to do it. I done tried all these other things. It's not working." But that's when I kind of really started. But it really wasn't until I got here where I say, if you don't help me, I'm not going to make it. And I've 2015, I really made a commitment. And, I'm not going to say that I'm perfect. And, I haven't had my moments, because I have. But I always remember. And sometimes people say, when you just think, you think. When I remember where I came from, it slides me on back to say, Lord, I don't ever want to get the big head. I don't ever want to feel like I have things now, and I don't have to, go through the things I went through before. But I want to trust you. I want to serve you when it's good. I want to serve you when I have. I want to serve you, when things are well. I don't want to just serve you when I don't have stuff. And so started in 2013, but 2015, it was really like, Simene, you got to do this because you kind of did everything else and you realize that that's not going to work out for you.
Right. Exactly.
And it's interesting. Sometimes I believe that God allows us to get into these really hard places, especially when he knows that deep in your heart, you have a desire to serve him. So he allows you to go through these experiences where there is no other answer. There is human intervention is not possible. All the money in the world will not make a difference. You are just there and you are like, okay, God, the true prayer, God, please help me.
Please help me.
And there's nothing else to it. You're not adding, if I did it, it's nothing else.
Right.
There's no bargaining.
Nope.
It's just, God, please help me.
Yes, absolutely. Wow. I'm almost ready to cry about this because this is just so moving.
This is very
right
sweet
now, and I can feel the energy coming from you. And I really, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here. The opportunity, really, because this is it's good for me. It's good for me. So thank you.
It's good for
You're
us.
here for a reason.
Yes.
You came here for a reason. And you came to tell what you do, but more you came with a message that people need to hear.
Yes.
Amen.
People need to hear that their stories are important. And when they get it down in writing, go through all the pain and trauma of doing that, there's healing on the other side.
Yes.
There's something special on the other side, especially when they involve God in it.
Yes.
Especially. Yeah.
That's when the healing comes. All of it comes together. And sometimes what I'm hearing in the stories that you've talked about, it was as if God was waiting for each one of you to do this so that he could step in and provide the healing that you needed and move you on to the next spot.
Yes, and I'm excited about the book. I'm excited about the courage. I'm excited about reading it because of you. Which, I mean, the energy that you are putting out in this moment is so huge.
Yeah.
So huge. And thank you.
Thank you. Really, thank you. Thank you very, very much. You've made my day. Thank you so much.
And before all this happened, I was tired. And I just feel a burst of energy.
And I love your shirt. Inspired.
Yes.
Thank you. And I told you, I said, let me go put on a shirt because I wasn't camera ready, but God knows. He knows.
You were perfectly ready.
You are so ready. Come on now. You are so ready.
Perfectly ready. When God gets you ready, you're ready.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
You're ready.
Exactly.
It may not look the way everybody else thinks it should look, but when God gets you ready, it's ready. You're ready.
It's the look he wanted. And you are very obedient.
Yes. Which is the other component of paying attention and listening. Then it's about being obedient.
Yes,
exactly. So again, to get this book, people can reach out to you on all of your Facebook, all of your handles. Can you give that out again?
Yes, ma'am. So it's Simene Walden at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and then my business page at The Student Teacher. We will do a Amazon best-selling campaign soon, but this was an ebook anthology first, and so I'm encouraging all listeners to purchase it from the co-authors first, and then you'll have an opportunity to get the print book next month. But right now, we're just doing the ebook.
Oh, okay.
And what is the name of your book again?
It's called Unmute Yourself.
Okay, Unmute Yourself. I like that title.
Mm-hmm.
I even like more how you arrived.
Yes.
I mean, and it's always good to hear the motivation behind a name.
Yes.
Yes.
Because that makes it even more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Even more powerful. So I don't want to mess up your name, Miss Walden, because I haven't said it yet. So
Yes.
I'm going to just say, Miss Walden,
Yes.
we are so grateful and honored that you are here today. And it just so happened, I think we hooked up on Facebook, and it just so happened I saw your post, and the name "Unmute Yourself" grabbed me, and that's when I said, "Let me reach out to her because we need to have her on the show so that we can find out what Unmute Yourself is about." And you welcomed it with open arms, and here we are.
Yep. And I think you saw it on Constance. She's one of the co-authors. She created a group for us.
Oh, okay.
So that was Constance.
Constant. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that was it. Okay. But thank you so much. And we're looking forward to following you and supporting you with your bestseller effort. So let us know as soon as it comes out. Okay. And I know to be bestseller, we got like an hour to jump on the book.
Yep.
So just put it out there and I'll be right on it.
All right. And I appreciate it so much. And thank you ladies again for the opportunity. Again, this was good for me tonight.
Yes, this was good for us.
Yes.
This was good for us. You have done something. You have moved us.
Wow.
I know you moved me.
Yeah.
For sure.
Very much so.
So
definitely inspired.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Your business, through Just Minding My Business Media, has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV. Through Just Minding My Business, dynamic digital marketing platform. Don't listen to the word on the street. Hear it for yourself. Visit jmb.asistercircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level. Thank you to the amazing women of A Sister Circle Empowerment Network, ASCEN LLC, and our media partners. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks, for when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.